What do we do as moms when dealing with a narcissistic ex? Hi, I'm Grace, the author of several books on Amazon specifically for moms who are forced to co-parent with a narcissist or are stuck in a high conflict custody battle. I help motivated mothers who are forced to co-parent with a narcissist maintain their sanity, save their custody cases, and enjoy their children's one and only childhood. I write for moms so that they don't feel so alone, can be validated in what they're experiencing with family court and the ex, and can improve their co-parenting conditions with a narcissist. I am here to say, yes, it is entirely possible to better a bad situation. If you are ready to learn, I am ready to teach. I provide support to moms in finding the keys to overcoming this dilemma, learning lessons, growing, healing, and changing along the way. As moms, we have many things thrown at us. If you are a mom having to co-parent with a narcissist or a mom in a high conflict custody battle, you will find yourself having to do many, many things. We learn to become masterful multitasker moms. We are juggling so many balls at once from the moment we wake up that it can feel like having 100 jobs, all with the one name, Mom. It can be downright overwhelming, challenging, but challenges, stress, and struggle can all make us stronger. We can learn to endure, be resilient, and overcome. We don't just have to go through this, we can grow through this. If we feel maxed out, we can simplify our lives and make different choices to better our and our children's well-being. Choice is our fundamental power, and it stems from having a healed mind and healthy self-esteem. Here's a list of some things we must do as moms in this problematic, difficult situation. 1. Stay stable in all ways, especially financial. 2. Stay sane amid the narcissist insanity, drama, and personality disorder. 2 or 3, grieve the loss of the relationship and the family we wished we'd had. 4, heal from narcissistic abuse and trauma while watching our children be abused in their presence. 5, run a household as a single mom or single parent. Some attempt to add another relationship and family in the mix. 6, raise a child or children and parent them effectively, giving them a happy home. 7, try to co-parent effectively or at least follow the court order or agreement. 8, retain a lawyer, use our lawyer, and have an ongoing adaptable legal strategy. 9, change, because we know we can't be the same person who is naive, vulnerable, and ill-equipped to deal with toxic personalities. 10, get help and support. 11, get our child or children help and support. The need for our ongoing healing while dealing with a narcissist. As you have discovered, our jobs as moms in this situation are tenfold and multi-leveled. We may have tried for years to protect our child from narcissistic abuse, only to find that the family courts are not in the business of child protection, but instead geared towards granting parents' rights and leaning towards 50-50, even in cases where that wouldn't work. As our children grow up or have to spend some time with a narcissist, we're tasked with teaching them coping skills to navigate the narcissist themselves while they're on unsupervised time. It's a tricky situation because we don't want to be accused of coaching or parental alienation, but we feel the call and the need to help them. At the same time, we're doing all these things to keep standing, stable, and sane. We have to validate what our kids suffer when dealing with their dads. We intuitively know that sometimes we have evidence sometimes that they too are being narcissistically abused with emotional neglect and a lack of empathy for them, or being bullied and pressured into submission, or being name called, or being invalidated. It's excruciating to witness and watch this happen to our precious children. These things often trigger us. It can be re-traumatizing to be so close to narcissistic abuse again. Sometimes it may feel like being directly abused ourselves when our children are abused. This is why we must do our own healing work and prioritize this. It's one of the keys in my first book, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. It's full of tips, tools, strategies, and not so much the mess as the message. What did I need to have with me to get through it? Pick up that orange-yellow book with the daffodil on it to get started. The truth is that our healing paves the way for our children's healing. Our healing stops us from being terribly triggered into harmful reactions. Our healing removes our trauma response, which can often overshadow our children's needs for comfort, reassurance, care, and love. One of the best things I ever did for my child was my own healing and recovery. The other best thing that I did was tell her, yes, you have to spend more time with your dad, but I'm going to go through this with you. You are not alone. It's a wonder how well this statement worked and still works today. Our children are at an unseen advantage. As I have said in many books for moms, the only thing worse than having a narcissistic dad is a narcissistic mom. We are their safe and soft place to land with their emotions if we have done our own healing work. This means that our children do not have a selfish mom. There's a helpful advantage in life right there. It means they have support and a champion in life, someone stable in their corner. They have us. If we ensure that we are the one healthy parent they can lean on, they are blessed. Another tool I installed was a simple long hug. It's almost like a transference moment of my personal power that I stepped into when I left that toxic relationship with her dad. Imagine getting a hug readily available whenever you need it from someone who loves, cherishes, respects, and adores you. It's pretty powerful stuff. This is why one of the keys in my first book is about focusing on our love for our child rather than our hate of the narcissist or our injustice. So if you want to get started reading, you can. I have several books on Amazon. The narcissist in my case was an alcoholic, so you can pick up those books also on Amazon. So You Love an Alcoholic, Lessons for a Codependent, or Loved an Alcoholic but Hated the Drinking. It's all about learning the lessons so we don't repeat our mistakes. The hope for us moms is that some of our problems with the narcissist will, 1, go away with time, 2, we and our children will outgrow many of them, and 3, we and our children will heal from them. The good news for children of narcissistic parents is that our children are not going to age backwards. They are growing up and becoming adults, which means we will outgrow some of our problems with the narcissist. Our children will age out of the family court system. Our children will gain their own rights, even if we have lost ours. This means that our children will make the choices for their own lives and not have the narcissist dictating and directing them. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of where the grown child of a narcissist leaves the controlling clutches, brainwashing, and abuse of the narcissistic parent and never looks back. They learn to set themselves free as we have set ourselves free. There is hope for a better, brighter future for them beyond their childhood of narcissistic abuse. It is our job to believe in them. We have to believe in their ability to survive and make it. Although I'm not a child therapist, I wrote some beneficial free blogs on ways to help our children deal with the narcissistic dads. You can see on my website here, the links will be how to protect your kids from gaslighting and the lies of a narcissistic parent on my blog, and 8 ways to help children with a narcissistic dad. Many of my tips, tools, and strategies came from the experts I self-studied with and under in the field of narcissistic abuse and high conflict custody battles. Most of my best ideas came from my child's male therapist, AGAL himself, who knew the system. When I say system, I mean he knew the incompetence of the Child Protective Services system and the inadequate family court system. What's even better was he personally knew firsthand about having a narcissistic alcoholic father. He was able to be a teacher and a parent coach to me, often calming me down and pointing me towards the best way to handle things. Even more so, he was able to be a reliable, healthy male figure for our child to learn what it is like to have a good guy looking out for you, giving you helpful wisdom, telling you relevant stories, validating your reality and feelings, and caring about you. He actually went on to be an ally and testified in our trial, saving my custody case. We need a multi-strategy approach to co-parenting with a narcissist. Our strategies as moms for co-parenting with a narcissist has to be more than just one. While many experts agree that there's no such thing as co-parenting with a narcissist and that we need to correct our minds and do more parallel parenting, we still have to use this term for courts because it's what they want to hear and see. I found it best not to be too rebellious to the courts and the judge and learn to see things from their view and adopt some of it so that I didn't suffer more. The courts like to hear us speak in terms of best interest of the child. We need to be careful not to be too focused on a narcissist and with trying to make him bad and wrong. One of the risks of trying to expose the narcissist to the family courts is that we look anti-dad and not focused on our children. It's a balancing act for sure. As moms co-parenting with a narcissist, we also need about 10 separate strategies that all function together. For example, a co-parenting strategy, even if it's parallel parenting, communication strategy, a documentation strategy, a parenting strategy of our own, support strategy for the co-parenting abuse and litigation that feels like war, a legal strategy, even if we don't have a lawyer. For me, I use several support systems to maintain my sanity. I use the DV, domestic violence counselor, a therapist who specializes in codependency, Al-Anon meetings, Al-Anon sponsorship, CODA, narcissistic abuse recovery program, life coaches, parent coaches, and more. I discuss having a team of 10 in my first book, Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane. We need to develop and install a multi-level approach to such a complex problem. It's wise not to rely on one person and burn out that well-meaning friend, coworker, or parent with the drama of our custody battle or co-parenting with a narcissist. What's important to know is my story of survival is that I didn't just survive and go on to thrive by doing this alone. I launched my own free YouTube education system and consulted with top experts in this arena. There was so much that I didn't know, which became evident when the family courts failed me and my child. I had to learn lessons and find ways to protect my child on my own. Sometimes we backed up into the microscope of the family court system. Other times we didn't use family court at all. It all required reasoning things out with the experts, not just friends and family, as well as my lawyer. You can see my helpful blog and PDF called Legal Strategies that I used. Let me find that. This is a PDF, and there are 20 legal strategies for surviving a high conflict custody battle. You can find that on my website. Then there came a tipping point where I could no longer protect and employ preventative measures for my child. I now had to prepare her for the real world where narcissistic and other toxic people are everywhere. In the future, these people might be her bosses, co-workers, boyfriend, teacher, etc. She needed to know how to protect herself and her truth. This meant demonstrating as well as offering helpful suggestions for dealing with conflict. I had to help her brainstorm and watch her create her own solutions for dealing, coping, and staying safe. Sometimes we were able to think and plan ahead and come up with a game plan. One of our best ideas included her playing sports so we could see each other more on her dad's added time. And this really helped. We wouldn't have to go too long without seeing each other, and it cut her dad's time and influence because she had great coaches who are positive male role models in her life, unlike him. Facing my failures and fears of the past narcissistic abuse, there also came a tipping point when I could no longer shrug off the abuse I endured. I had to face, articulate, name, and write it down to show a pattern of abuse tactics for my custody case. Because what became clear was that my custody case wasn't an average family court case. It was a hostile, high conflict, ongoing, and it was unsettled. This was this way for like 3 main reasons. The narcissist was never happy, number 1. Remember that this is a genuine personality disorder, NPD. 2, this was really post-separation abuse meant to control and punish me. And 3, I stood up for myself. The main thing that needed to be understood was that my case was actually a DV case, even though it didn't look like it at first. So you can go to my website to get my list of co-parenting abuse tactics of the narcissist, learning important principles for dealing with narcissists. This is my newest book, has all my skillful means, my best wisdom, has my Get the Right Lawyer guide included in it. You can find this book on Amazon. It's the 4th one in my 4-book series for moms. One of the things I learned was that I absolutely couldn't get order from a disordered person, and that by organizing myself with strong and steel boundaries, I could shoot down the narcissist's attempt at controlling me and winning it all. I practiced self-discipline in areas such as messaging him and secretly documenting his behavior. Another thing that I learned was that while we can't fix crazy, we can document it and label the tactics of the narcissist. As I teach moms in my private coaching practice, if you can name the tactic and accurately label it using my list of co-parenting abuse, the tactic loses much of its power to hurt us. For example, a false allegation is just that, false. A projection of the narcissist's paranoid mind is just that, his projection. Calling us or our children names is petty name calling and really a form of verbal abuse. Coming to terms with co-parenting with a narcissist, I learned to give myself and our child the gift of peace. It came from my knowledge plus experience, which became my wisdom. I faced mistakes that I made in my thinking and behavior. To grow a healthy mindset and adopt a healthy can-do attitude, I changed how I thought about things. I changed how I did things. What I showed our child was the ability to adapt and be flexible, the ultimate way a species survives and how we survived it all. I also showed her how I could evolve, mature, and grow past all the nonsense. My evolution changed the battle, and seeing things from different angles was a healthy approach to conflict. I gave her the gift of seeing me go first with all that, even though reality was a tough pill to swallow. She saw me spend my time on important matters or other matters that mattered rather than be consumed by my ex, the narcissist. And this way, he exited my life. I took him off the stage and he went elsewhere for supply. I became free once again. I encourage you to lead with wisdom, carefully consider your options, and learn as you go. Forgive yourself for your mistakes as a mom going through something so complex and difficult. Rather than beat yourself up with self-blame, simply take responsibility and make changes for the better. You and your children can overcome this, making it better one day at a time. Ready to get started learning the lessons that can change the chess game with a narcissist? Then pick up one of my books on Amazon and start learning from my survivor wisdom. As a tip, I tell moms to read the full progression of my story and start with book 1 before book 2. Learn all you can and be prepared. Book 1 is Co-Parenting with a Narcissist. Let's see if I can give you all the books in the order. Here we go. Co-Parenting with a Narcissist, 7 Self-Rules to Stay Sane, How to Fight a Narcissist in Family Court and Win, Co-Parenting with a Sociopath, Survival and Sanity Guide, or the last one, which is How to Survive a Custody Battle with a Narcissist when the family courts force you to co-parent. I just want to give you a quick disclaimer that these are helpful tips based solely on my thoughts and opinions. I'm not a qualified mental health professional or a crisis caseworker, therefore can't be liable to give you any, for your case. I'm not giving you any legal advice or appropriate counsel. Please follow your doctors, therapists, counselors, and lawyers' advice in your own good common sense and intuition based on your unique case to see if these tips, my tips, could be helpful. Child custody situations may vary where some of the things I say may not be applicable for your circumstance. Furthermore, court orders may dictate otherwise, so please use your own good judgment when reading this as a blog or listening to this as a video. It's for personal self-help only, and they're created from my own lived experience and not based on any laws or rules of the courts. It's copyright protected, not to be sold or distributed, but please share this out. I'll give you some more resources. What I always say is don't be desperate for a lawyer. If you need a lawyer, use your lawyer for law and not the drama, or as a therapist. That can become costly. I have a $10 Get the Right Lawyer guide, has a 20 questionnaire worksheet to interview attorneys to ask the questions to see if they know the judge, if they understand high conflict cases, and you can get your legal questions answered, or at least figure out their angle, how they would take your custody case and how much it might cost for an entire year to retain them, or what the retainer fee is. You can get that 20 question worksheet to be prepared and sit down with 2 to 3 lawyers getting different opinions on your case. I have a 3-part strategy for co-parenting. It's very simple because, like I said, you'll need many strategies and many approaches to dealing with this. It can feel overwhelming, but having a strategy is what you fall back on and remind yourself of when something happens. The legal strategies is a PDF, and I always give a heads up that the nonsense never seems to end with a narcissist. So you learn to not expect order from a disordered person. I give a lot of survivor wisdom that my healing was a psychological buffer for my child dealing with a narcissist. So I encourage moms to heal, become sound and healthy again. That's in my first book. Give a lot of words and wisdom on my private Facebook group, and just don't let his disorder make you the disordered and disorganized parent. So get organized with a coach or a therapist or a sponsor. You can get free sponsorship and a lot of 12-step programs, and maybe 1 or 2 sponsors, because this can be an overwhelming task to go into co-parenting with a narcissist or a custody battle. This is the first book. It's also available on Amazon. I have a Navigate the Narcissist video course with 11 videos. You can start watching it today, where I just guide you through how to get grounded in reality and not to go crazy over a court custody battle. I have a way to communicate using skillful means, 11 super helpful tips. Also on my website under my blog, you can find this, or maybe some other places like my YouTube channel will have an advertisement for this. I have 5 factors that can make a narcissist stop. If you're dealing with a narcissist co-parent who is actively on an abuse campaign for you, these are, I encourage you to get a DV counselor involved. You might need no trespassing orders, restraining orders, police involvement. But there are some things that we do that can make things escalate, that can cause it to be worse. So I have 5 factors that's in my blog, and I offer one-to-one coaching. Come to my website to check out my blog, where I talk about the co-parenting abuse that I dealt with, and I have lists so that you could print, circle, and learn to label and identify the tactic of the narcissist. I also have an instant download. You can become part of my monthly mailing list. It's more quarterly, and be able to just print this, and when he's doing something, go to the list. What is he doing now? And circle it. Thank you for watching. I'm Grace Rolson. I'm the author, and I'm glad to have shared this wisdom with you, and I hope to see you in a future video. So like and subscribe, or check out my playlist of dealing with a narcissistic co-parent, and start getting some of these tidbits of wisdom under your belt to help you feel more stable and sane. Thanks, and we'll see you in the next video.